Hello and welcome along to coverage of the 2021 Rising Stars Series final. The very best in MotoGP eSport talent is being discovered right here. And coming up, Jack, we've got coverage of our Americas final.
Yeah, we certainly do. We're going to the circuits of the Americas to find out which one of our 11 finalists is going to be the person that's going to launch themselves into the 2022 Pro Draft. So that's it then. Over to us, myself, Jack Gorst, and my good friend Jack Appleyard, as we go racing in Kota.
Hello and welcome to the Rising Stars Series final for the Americas. The best in eSport talent from across both North and South America competing here for a place in the 2022 MotoGP eSport Pro Draft. It's Jack Appleyard and Jack Ghost with you to talk you through the action. Let's look at the front row then. On pole position, thanks to online challenges, is Nerb. Ahead of him, Macago on the KTM, and rounding out the front row of the grid is 2 Plain Jane.
Then we go on to the second row of the grid and we see Supremacia. I believe he was in one of these regional finals last year. From Mr. Hitstick, he definitely was. I do remember that one. And in 6th place on the grid, we have Rocco on the Aprilia.
On to the third row of the grid where we find Snappy Nuts on the Yamaha machine. We've got Barbo, the Brazilian there on the factory Ducati. And we have Bastona 92, the Brazilian once again.
And on the back row of the grid, we've got S. Nunes, another Brazilian for us. And completing the riders and runners, we have Nunes, basically. That is it. 10 of them then. I thought it was going to be 11, but it is 10. Here we go. Ready to get going for the Americas regional final.
So here we are, Nerb on pole position. The LCR Castrol Honda man will start from top spot. The lights are out here in Austin and we are away at the Circuit of the Americas. Great start from Supremacia on the VR46 machine from the second row of the grid, and he's going to take the whole shot. What a super start that was. Brilliant. He's gone wide though, he's gone wide, and that's going to give our poleman Nerb the opportunity to take it back, which he does as well. Macago in the mix. He started second, let's not forget as well, but after a great start from Supremacia, it's Nerb that's hit the front.
Yes, a great recovery then from the poleman Nerb, number 47 on the LCR Honda. Contrasting fortunes though for Nunes and Mr. Hitstick. Disaster. They crashed out at turn 1 and all the way back in 9th and 10th. So already we're through the first split then. We're going to come down into turn 9, turn 10, and down into the very, very tight hairpin at turn 11 before the back straight. Supremacia looks like he's got to hold off from Macago. See if he can do that coming down now into turn 11. Whoa. Taking a lot of curb there. Is he going to dive up the inside? He's certainly going to have a look. Not too sure. He might just bump him out of the way. Whoa, that was very brave.
Super tight there between the pair fighting for second place here. And just interestingly from the onboard, of course in MotoGP 21 and in previous iterations as well, you can choose your own riding style, and look at Supremacia here. He's gone for the classic riding style, very much like he's doing a McDoohan style sort of goon riding.
Oh, that's harsh. That's
harsh.
Well,
no, not harsh on McDoohan,
what
but
I was
you can see it's a very classic style that he's decided to go for.
Well, Jack, what I was going to say, we are in Kota, and the old Kevin Schwantz, MotoGP legend, did have a play in designing this circuit. So I'd say it's more Kevin Schwantz than anyone else, but the riding style hasn't worked from there. He's gone wide. Supremacia then back down to third, as unfortunately Rocco on the Aprilia has crashed. So that is possibly him out of contention for a place in the Pro Draft for next season, so certainly disaster for him. But back at the front then, that is very, very close. 2 Plain Jane going to, basically throw 2 fingers up the inside there and barge Supremacia out of the way. But he holds on for now, the man on the VR46 machine.
Meanwhile, at the front though, let's not forget, it doesn't matter who finishes second, third or further behind, it's all about taking victory here. And Nerb, after the opening lap, has got himself a near 3-second lead. What a start for the LCR man as Supremacia tries to look up the inside of Macago there, no way through. He's getting ganged up at the moment, is Macia, from a pair of KTMs. Macago on the factory 1, 2 Plain Jane on the Tech 2 machine are just starting to gang up on him, and they need to start making a move, because as we can see, Macago now 3.1 seconds clear. It's a commanding lead for Nerb on only the second lap of this 8-lap race.
Yeah, he's absolutely destroyed them at the opening of this race. You see how smooth he was as he went, looking back on board with him through the first split there. Just perfectly hitting every single apex, nice and easy on the throttle and the brakes as well. And then when we cut back to Supremacia and 2 Plain Jane, we saw a complete contrast. Going wide, and there's contact there down into turn 11. Someone else has gone very, very wide indeed. Not too sure who that was. Barbo then gone very, very wide, relinquished the place to Bastona So not very good for him either. But now we're going to see coming down into turn 12. Very, very big stop this. 6th gear, 330 k's an hour plus, all the way down to about 50 kilometers an hour at the apex of this one. It's a proper dead stop.
It's easy to do what Masia did there and just run ever so slightly wide on this MotoGP 21 game. The rear wheel is constantly wanting to come over the top of you and spit you over the top. He's done very well to get it stopped in the end, and there's so many technical, very technical, hard braking zones around this circuit. It's extremely difficult for these eSport gamers, but at the moment, Nerb is mastering it. 4.5 seconds clear. What a start this has been from the LCR man. Meanwhile, looks as though 2 Plain Jade has just been nudged backwards. The Brazilian Nunes has managed to squeeze through.
Yeah, that's very, very impressive from Nunes, because if you remember down at turn 1 on the very first lap, he actually crashed. So Nunes coming through them all the way up into 4th place. So pretty impressive from the Petronas SRT Yamaha man. He's going to look down the inside into turn 1. Is he? No, not quite. Just thinks about it, but pulls out of it in the end.
So 2 laps completed here. Here's your running order as Masia goes wide. Barbo's gone down as well. He was the factory Ducati man that went high, wide and handsome earlier on lap number 2. So your running order is Nerb 5 seconds clear. Even at this early stage, it's in his hands here. He just needs to make sure that he keeps it precise and doesn't make a mistake. And that place in the Pro Draft is him. Further behind, Macago 2nd, Nunes in 3rd, Super Masia 4th, 2 Plain Jane now back down to 5th. Bastoner is 6th, Mr. Hitstick in 7th, Snappy Nuts, the Canadian, in 8th, with Barbo and Rocco completing the field at the moment as we focus in on our race leader. And just look at that. He is in a different postcode at the moment. We're only on lap 3 of 8. We've only completed 2 laps and he's nearly 6 seconds clear. What a performance this is.
Yeah, he's properly romped off into the distance, hasn't he? 5.7 seconds up. I don't really know how you do that in 2.5 laps. But
Snappy Nuts has gone down.
That's unfortunate. Maybe caught out by a snapping high side from Snappy Nuts there. But Macago then has actually just closed the gap by a couple of tenths, but I'm sure that's just the timing screen jumping around a little bit. But yeah, I mean, you know, even though it's a very, very impressive ride from these 2 KTM boys in 2nd and 3rd, when the qualifying position to get through into the Pro Draft for next year is 6 seconds out front, it means absolutely nothing, and it's pretty devastating for these 2, because that is the ultimate prize that they're all going for here. Nunes then, he's lost a couple of positions. He must have had a mistake somewhere around the lap, and it just seems at the moment that possibly mistakes is exactly what's happening to everyone. The whole field is just stretched out. There's about a 1.5 second gap between most of the runners at the moment. So certainly it seems that, that was a big glitch. Maybe a little bit of internet connection issues there for Super Masia. Possibly that's why he's dropped all the way back down to 7th now. So the old Kevin Schwantz riding style doesn't seem to be doing it too many favours around Kota.
So Nerb still leading the way. And of course, as we've mentioned, a place in the Pro Draft up for grabs here, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're confirmed to be in the 2022 Global Series. So going out and winning a race like this in such dominant fashion is a brilliant way to put yourself in the shop window ahead of the MotoGP teams picking their official riders and their replacement riders for 2022. And of course, being an American as well, that certainly will help him, because as in most sports, we've seen it on the MotoGP grid, where it's no secret that further diversity on the grid and seeing different nations represented is exactly what most people want. It's great to see people from all over, all 4 corners of the world represented on the MotoGP eSport grid. We've got that at the moment, of course. There's a huge contingent from Europe, which goes without saying, but also Mr. TFTW from Australia. We've got the likes of Moe and Sancho Queen, who competed earlier in the season from Southeastern Asia. We've also got Fuchs from Brazil. You know, there's a wide spread of riders and gamers from different continents around the world, which is great to see.
Yeah, it is. Motorsport, the kind of passion for motorsport is something that transcends all boundaries and borders, really, isn't it? So it's very, very good when we do get to see these guys from other parts of the world compete for a place on the world stage. So that's exactly what we're seeing here. Bastoner has a long lap penalty. I'm not too sure how long that's been up on the timing screen, but just noticed it there for you. So for him, who was looking like he was just charging through, he's come up from about 7th or 8th actually, so it's a good recovery from Bastona 92 on the Pramac Ducati, but that long lap penalty will cost him around 2.5-3 seconds, and he currently has a 2.4 second gap on Nunes behind him, so it's going to be very, very close and a bit dicey when he comes out of that long lap penalty lane to see where he slots back in.
And that's because of track limits, I would imagine, as well, because we can see Mr. Hitstick, Super Masia and Barbo have already all had 4 warnings, and now Nunes, he's been handed one as well, so track limits for the Brazilian too, so clearly that's becoming a bit of a challenge for these guys. Meanwhile, the perfectionist that is Nerve out front, not a single track limits warning, and he's 8 3/4 seconds clear now.
Yeah, the only other person to do that is Two Plane Jane that we see on our screen at the moment. Not a single track limits warning for them either. So congratulations to those two, keeping it very clean, tidy in between the lines throughout the whole race. Ooh, there was 2 bites of the cherry there from Bastona, tipping into turn 8 or 7, whichever one that is. So he needs to be careful as well, because obviously already on that long lap penalty, if he does another one, well, you just see it popped up on his timing tower on the left that he's got 2 more warnings, 3 more, and he will receive another long lap penalty.
So here we are, here's Nunes, the Petronas Yamaha SRT man, about to fire his way down the back straight here at the Circuit of the Americas. Long lap penalty for him to take, as well as the man in front, Bastona. Let's see if they're going to take it on this lap. Incidentally, the long lap penalty loop will be held right here. No, it's not. I'm just trying to think where the long lap penalty loop will be. It's here, just as the flicking. There it is, right there. As you can see, Two Plane Jane just running ever so slightly wide in front.
It's quite a long lap penalty loop.
It is,
this one as well, Jam. So it's he's gone very, very wide there. Bastona has missed that apex by a country mile, so certainly lost a little bit of time to Nunes behind him. Now only 1.5 back, so certainly closing in. But as we do say, the pair of them have a long lap penalty. So on board with Nerve then, coming to complete lap 5. He'll have 3 to go after this one, so 3 laps to go for Nerve. And it's been absolute perfection. The gap now over 10 seconds of a lead. That is total demolition. I mean, if this man doesn't find his way onto the Global Series next year, it's a bit of a crime, because this has been a complete domination performance. Yeah, this is seriously impressive from Nerve on the LCR machine. As you said, 10.5 seconds clear, and we've completed 5 laps. This is Marquez-esque.
It is, very much so. He's just in a different league at the moment. These guys have not seen which way he went. Of course, he hasn't led all the way, just Super Masia. I think you would have to say got the whole shot, but he braked extremely late, then ran wide. Nerb took the lead at turn 2 and hasn't looked back since then. Yeah, I would imagine, that's a track limits offence there for Nunes, surely, just cutting across the inside, the AstroTurf on the insides there. Of course, he's not taken his long lap penalty yet, neither has Bastona as well, so they need to hurry up and crack on with that. They need to really look at taking it this time around, otherwise suddenly one long lap penalty will become 2.
Yeah, and they're going to fall into the clutches of Mr. Hitstick behind them when they do take those long lap penalties. You see he's in the draft now. He's going to try outbrake him down into turn 12. Give him a little bump on the way through as well. So Nunes, if he can get it pulled down and stopped, he's just about as. Got it spinning up on the curve on the outside. So stations holding as they are there. There's more contact through this very, very tight section as we close the lap out in Circuit of the Americas. Is he going to go for the inside? He does. He dives to the inside. Bastona just runs it around the outside, keeps the momentum going, holds on to the place for now.
And of course, because they're occupied with each other here, they're totally forgetting to take the long lap penalty as Bastona goes wide. Nunes comes through, just gives him a little bit of a kiss for good measure as well. And finally, I think the Brazilian has got the better of Bastona on the Pramac Ducati machine. Has he?
Sure?
Bastona has a good look through. He goes down and goes down. He clipped the rear wheel of the Petronas Yamaha machine, and unfortunately it went down. So the Pramac guy is down and loses a position, down to 6 now as a result of that. But what a fascinating battle that was. Half a lap and they swap places 4, 5, maybe even 6 times.
Yeah, I think they were sharing the tarmac more than they were on different pieces of it. So certainly a very, very good battle indeed. As once more we do cut to race leader Nerb, 11.8 seconds now out in front. And what more can we say about it? It's just been absolutely inch perfect. Still not even a track limits violation. Not a single one on his scorecard for this race. With only a lap and a half to go, I don't think it's going to change either. Macargo, he's got to be happy with that. Came up from a slightly lower grid position than where he is at the moment. So a good charge through the field, but you know, he's going to be disappointed that he couldn't try and go with Nerb anyway. As we cut back now, it seems that Nunes is going to do a bit more battling here. Just turns it underneath two-plane J, nice and tight, gets the drive on the Yamaha. See if he can hold the KTM man off as they fly down the straight.
Up to third now. Good run this by the Brazilian. Of course, it's a bit of a fake place though, because that long lap penalty is still looming over him. He needs to try to take it here actually. This is his third attempt. Of course, guys only get 3 laps to take it. There it is in front, and he's not taking it. So I think as he goes around next time, across the start-finish, suddenly that will come up with 2 times long lap penalty for the Brazilian. He needed to take it this time around and hasn't done. So I think he's going to be in a little bit of bother. Or it may well be that he's decided instead of taking it, because let's not forget we've seen on a couple of occasions in the Global Series, it is so difficult to get that long lap penalty loop absolutely spot on. Because the lane is so narrow, and on the eSport game it's so difficult to be inch perfect precise that we've seen a number of guys actually run over the green either on entry or on exit, and suddenly that becomes 2 long lap penalties. So he might have thought, oh, I'll get to the checker flag and just take the time penalty, but of course he's miscalculated it slightly, because as you can see now it says long lap penalty times 2. Meanwhile the guys behind, Bastona and Barbo, they have gone through it, so their long lap penalties have been chalked off, and they must have done it with extreme precision as well, because they've not been handed another one as a result of getting it wrong. Meanwhile, at the front, still setting new fastest laps of the race, is Nerb, now nearly 15 seconds clear.
Yeah, well, how many times have we seen a Honda dominate around this?
Nunes is down.
Nunes has gone down, so it's going from bad to worse, and even worse for Nunes on this final lap. That's a disaster for him. But as we do say, Nerb, how many times have we seen a Honda dominate around the circuit of the Americas? And once more, he's just showing that even in eSports that is the case. 15 seconds clear. Well, just a cakewalk, really, isn't it? Nerb has demolished the whole field, but
Nunes again.
Nunes is having a disaster on this final lap. Already down to 6th, and he's got those 2 long lap penalties to take. Good recovery actually in 3rd and 4th from Mr. Hipstick and Two-Plane Jane. Two-Plane Jane's actually been up there kind of the whole race, really, floating around that 3rd, 4th, 5th mark. So see it come through to take 3rd in the end. Very good ride indeed.
Here is Nerb then, is into the final sector. What a performance this has been. 16 seconds clear, just 2 corners to go now for the LCR man. Backs it in, still pushing. 1 corner to go. Even if he crashes, he could still pick it up and walk it across the line. What a performance this has been from the American. Nerb takes victory in the Rising Star Series, America's final. One of the most dominant wins we have ever seen in MotoGP eSport history. He books his place in the 2022 Pro Draft, and you'd have to say after a performance like that, he'll be high on the shopping list of many MotoGP teams for next year's Global Series. Macargo in the end takes 2nd, no reward for that, but a great performance nonetheless. A good confidence boost ahead of hopefully booking his place in the Pro Draft for next season. Two-Plane Jane completes the podium here at the Circuit of the Americas. Suzuki's Mr. Hitstick, he takes 4th. Bastona in 5th, with Nunes coming across the line in 6th. Of course, he'll have a penalty added to his eventual finish time, so he may well shuffle further backwards. Supermassi 7th, Barbo 8th. Rocco, we're waiting for him to come across the line. There he goes in 9th. And finally, completing the top 10 is Snappy Nuts in 10th. But of course, the headlines will be all about our race winner, and now confirmed as being in the 2022 MotoGP eSport Pro Draft. It's America's Nerb. What a performance. In the end, 16.9 seconds clear of Macargo in 2nd. One of the great performances in MotoGP eSport history. I'm sure we'll be hearing that name a little bit more in the future. Congratulations to Nerb.